Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Rachel Interrupted, a podcast where we're not really sure what goes on or what we're really doing, but we're here. And what? You didn't like that?
No.
Why?
Well, I just thought it's like, you don't have to know what's not going on. That's not the point. Actually, we're explaining exactly what has been going on.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take
great.
that.
Perfect. And we're back.
This is our third episode. We dropped 2 in the last 2 weeks. We're just enjoying the process.
Yep. And I should say, I think we should say thank you to everybody that's listened and subscribed already. 2 in. We're people are commenting nice things. I don't think we've had any negativity. Which,
not yet.
Are you guys okay? I know that there's dormant negativity that's just waiting to explode.
No, it's been very supportive for the most part.
Yeah, and I know Rachel appreciates it. I appreciate it, and let's get into it, man.
Okay.
Rachel Interrupted, episode 3. Trace.
We haven't given up yet.
Nope, any day now.
I did try though. I've tried like several times.
Oh yeah, you think Rachel wanted to come out today when she saw it, when you texted her and she was like, "Oh, I forgot. Like I don't want to." I dragged her ass.
I forgot. I really did, and I was having a not a great morning.
Usually what happens with Rachel when she comes back into town after not being in town, that first morning waking
Reality
up is
sets in.
a meltdown.
I woke up yesterday staring at the beach in the ocean, and today I woke up and I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, I'm always scared to pick her up because it's not like, babe, I know she misses me. She tells me she misses me while she's gone. And then when I pick her up, she's usually not happy to be back because she's normally coming from something like paradise.
Yeah.
And when the reality sets in,
it's hard to leave paradise.
Yeah.
That's why I extended my vacation, because I went to Anguilla for 5 days on a bachelorette party, which was funny because every day Matt was waiting for me to call him with some drama or like somebody's fighting. And so was the bride's fiance was like, has anyone, they were both all the men were just curious of how long we were going to go until like something catastrophic happened between the group. But out of 9 people, we all got along and it was really, really fun. We had 5 magical days in Anguilla and I got to go on a boat. I was snorkeling. I was looking at fish. I did one of those, I don't know what they're not like sea-doos, but you put half your body on it. I don't know what they're called, but they're like.
Is it the thing that they use
you control your hands on it? I'm trying to.
Does it go underwater?
It can go underwater, but it can go. It's like almost like a small sea-doo.
No, it's like for when you're scuba diving.
Maybe, yeah, but you can just ride around. It's motorized or whatever. I forget what they're called, but it was awesome. And yeah, it was like one of those. Yeah. But
and you're going under with it?
You can go down. Yeah, it's like the yellow one right there.
Whoa.
All the way. Down. Like, nope, with the guy underwater. Right. Like
the red
next
one.
to the red one. I forget what those are called, but yeah, that's essentially what they are. Sea Bob. Yeah, Sea Bob. That's what we rented. It was so fun. I've never seen the ocean so clear. Google Anguilla. Do people see this when they watch?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you where I was. Anguilla beaches. I've never seen water so clear before in my life. And pictures don't do it justice.
Right.
Like you have to really, really be there. And everyone in Anguilla is so nice. And the food was good. The drinks were good. Rosé all day. Everyone was drinking, what are those called? Daiquiris.
Mm-hmm.
We went on the boat one day and they took us to one of those like sandbar islands. And they have a restaurant bar on this sandbar island. But the thing is, the island disappears every 5 days because of the ocean.
That's crazy.
So I was like, what happens?
What rating does it have?
But I'm also like, what happens if you get fired while you're working on the island? Like, you just have to wait for the next boat. I asked the bartender, I'm like, do you guys ever just wish you could quit? And then, but you can't because you have to wait.
I'm leaving. And then you swim.
There's no, yeah, it's like literally, it's magical. It's a sandbar in the middle of the ocean. And they pack it up I don't forget what it's called, but
does it look like that though? Does
kinda,
it look
like? Yeah, it kind of looks like that, where it's a little sandbar in the middle of the ocean. You have to take a boat to it, and but it gets covered every 5 days by. It looks kind of like that, actually, that little sandbar right there. But I was like, whenever I'm just having a sad moment, I'm just gonna picture myself on this beach that disappears every 5 days.
And when I saw the pictures of Rachel and, this blue clear water and paradise, I was like, yeah, she's for sure gonna hate coming home.
Yeah.
And I embraced it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
it's hard because I used to live in Florida and I was there for college, and you get used to like that whole vibe. Like, a lot of my friends didn't have to work, and a lot of the people down there moved to retire. So it's very uninspiring and not motivating.
Yeah.
And you can get lost in the island vibe of everything.
That's a great point. And that's why I think that New York hustle is so important, because it's so uncomfortable that it is inspiring.
Yeah.
Rising in a really shitty, I shouldn't call it shitty, but it's an old clunky town. You know what I mean? I only bring up New York because it's like the opposite of this. But there's so much inspiration there.
I want to be an Anguilla comedian. Yeah, I think I'm going to open up a comedy shack in Anguilla, and that's going to be my new identity. But then so we flew back, and the flights kept getting delayed because of the weather in Miami. And my flight to Austin from Miami, because that's where the layover was, kept getting delayed. And it's like, all I need is that one extra push to not get on the plane. I don't want to sit in a Miami airport for 3 hours when I have friends there, and I can just. So yeah, I called Matt and I was like, I'm just going to stay an extra couple days.
Well,
so
you didn't call me. You texted me your flight back, and it was a different day. And I'm like, okay, well, she decided she's going to stay. And then she calls me and she's like, I miss you. And I'm like, no, you don't.
I miss you, but I'm also staying in Miami a few days. Two things can be true. So I stayed in Miami a few days. I stayed with my friend Emmy. She and I went to college together, and I got to see my friends Brittany and Amanda Green, my neighbor from Los Angeles. She's from Miami, and she moved back to be with her mom. She's in between. So I got to see a lot of like my friends. I saw my childhood friend Sivan. I've known her since we were 10, and we all went out on a boat together because I needed another boat day. So we went on the boat in Miami. And that was really, really fun. Ate at this really good restaurant called Il Mulino, this Italian restaurant I would love to take you to. I feel like you should be saying this to me. I'd love to take you to this nice Italian restaurant in Miami, super romantic. And the lighting is very dark, but you can see the ocean out the window, and it's really cool. And then so that's where I was. But a week or so prior, Matt and I went home because we had a college show to do at UCSB, my first college show. And Matt and we drove out there. And we both were kind of like, oh, this is going to suck for sure.
Well, I don't know what college kids think is funny. And
mainly because he did go to college. But
I did not. I don't really relate to that. But we get there and, it was sloppy. They didn't know some of the people were late, and it worked out. It
wasn't sloppy. These kids are amazing. The girl who runs it,
yeah.
She's running a college. They have a comedy club at this college, UCSB, where they go and they do mics and they do shows, and then they started putting on shows with bigger comedians to bring the bigger comedians to UCSB. And the girl who hosted, I feel bad. Was it Caroline or what?
I think so.
She was so funny. She was so good. She's so young, cute, came with material, talked about like politics and current events, talked about her life. I mean, just exactly what a comedian should be doing. And it's crazy that so many people don't do that. And she just like gets it. And then she had like 2 other kids on the show. They were more improv kids.
They both opened with, "Do you guys like impressions?"
Yeah, it was adorable to see. I mean, you know, very green, but she killed it. And then it was me, Matt, Steph Tolev, and
Chappelle Lacey.
Lacey.
And you know what's cool about this too, because with these kids, I was kind of worried that it was going to be, you know, all I know of colleges is the stuff I hear about them being very PC, and
it was not like that.
And
the
I do
girl
comedy.
was very edgy.
Oh yeah, I mean, at one point I was like, I wrote a set for these kids, and I was like, and you know, I'm not putting in a lot of the, I guess you could call it dark stuff, edgy stuff, whatever. But then like midway through, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna drop the hammer. These kids seem to get it.
Yeah, and it was like a bunch of kids, and there was like 2 old people, and Steph Tolev immediately called them out and was like, "What are you doing here?" You know? And it turned out to be like a really fun show. A lot of kids showed up. It was in this like auditorium, and it was a really fun show. And then we came back. I got up on potluck at the Comedy Store, friends and family. Matt had a set at the store while we were gone, or while we were there. And then I had originally while I was staying there in LA for that extra week in between the UCSB shows, because I got an audition for JFL. It was my first time auditioning for JFL, and I was really excited because my spot was going to be in the belly room at the Comedy Store, where I feel super comfortable to, you know, like get up and do 5 minutes. And 2 days before, Matt wakes me up and he goes, "Is this real?" And he shows me an article where it said JFL is going bankrupt or something. And I was like, let me see it, because it looked like an Onion article. And sure enough, obviously, you know, we all got the news that JFL's going in a different direction, as you say in the business. Right. So they canceled the JFL auditions, but they said that we could still come and do our spots, because I think it just was too difficult for the venues to like fill, you know, I think UCB's entire week was dedicated to JFL auditions. So they would have had to like book all new it just would have been crazy. So they're like, come still do your spots. Some people were flying into town just for their 5-minute spot, because I saw the lineup and someone's name had been crossed off, and it was because they didn't want to fly in for a 5-minute spot. Mm-hmm. But it was still cool because there were still industry there, and I ended up meeting the talent booker for JFL. She was really cool. Or I didn't meet her, but I connected with her on social media. She saw me get up, and so that was, you know, cool. It's always good to still, I think, do your spots and show up and just show face, because no matter what, you still never know who's in the audience, and you never know what that person is going to be in charge of someday.
Let's talk about the significance of that, though, of JFL, which is the festival. You know, it's the industry standard. What are those agents? How else on that weekend are they gonna get fucked up and cheat on their wives?
Well, I just wanted to know, like, if I could, like, JFL is one of those things where it's like, if you're gonna do any festival in comedy, like aside from like the Skank Fest and the ones that are like really, like the fun festivals, this is more of like the, you know, to see and be seen, I guess, in terms of like industry, even though industry, I think, does go to Skank Fest and like all the other festivals. This was one where I was like, oh, this would be really cool to add to my resume as a comedian.
To me, JFL was always like what I imagined Christmas was like for the Jews. Every year it comes around, but I don't get to celebrate. I'm not one of the, you know, every year I've seen it come and go, and I've never put in any efforts. I'm not blaming JFL, but what was sad was, like, I can imagine as a Jewish child, when Christmas comes around, maybe like, you know, like you'd want to be one day, I hope I get to have Christmas. And what if they canceled Christmas?
Just for Jews. That's the new name of the festival. It was Just for Laughs. Then it was Just for Fun. Now Just for Jews.
I hope it comes back because it's like, not to say, like, look, I would love to take a whack at that festival, but also, even if I'm not on it, it's like this normalcy that I'm so accustomed to. I hope it lives on. You know what I mean? It's pretty sad.
I've noticed is all the same industry people go to these festivals. They go to the same festivals. You're seen by the same, you know what I mean?
But it goes to show what does prestige really mean? Because that was the most prestigious festival, and now they can't even afford to keep the doors open. Like, we're the ones that idealize these things, these festivals, these clubs. And it's like, at the end of the day, there will always be stuff like that. There will always be a bunch of agents getting drunk in some foreign land, making horrible choices, but then every now and then finding the next big thing. And like, that will always exist. It's just sad that like, JFL, it's like, dude, they're online on YouTube, so much great stand-up. They've posted so much great stand-up clips that I hold so dear. And to think that they couldn't keep the doors open.
In conclusion, we'd really love to be a part of your festival sometime when you guys
have me over sometime.
When you guys, financially come.
Canadians love me. The French tolerate me. And agents don't know me. But that could all be remedied by having Matt and Rachel at your festival. Hey, can I ask you a question about your vacation? How long into it until you started missing me? Ooh, it's a thinker.
I'm trying to think back because I think there was a moment. Yeah, I was probably like maybe when I was going to bed one night, and I was like, I wish I was going to bed in our bed with Matt and Gomez. But it is really nice waking up to this ocean. So if I have to like settle for that, then
I can't compete with the ocean. Which day was that?
Oh, probably like the second day.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then I woke up to the ocean. I was like, never mind.
Matt can't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes Matt smells like the ocean.
Yeah. But, yeah. And then I just.
And he gets crabs.
What?
No, I don't know. I've never gotten crabs, for the record. I'm making an ocean joke.
Now people are going to think I gave you crabs.
Moving on. Okay. So then you go from there, you miss me dearly, and then you start to remember that Matt can't do this. When you get to Miami, how's that vibe change from the foreign vibe?
I miss Miami. I mean,
did you like Miami more?
No, I liked them both separately. Like I really feel like I could live in South Florida again. You know what? The Stand is opening up a club down there. Yeah. I think the Creek should open up a club down there.
Tell Rebecca.
The Ocean in the Cave.
I was just going to say that.
The Sea in the Cave.
She's brought it up.
She's brought it up? Yeah, I mean, dude, it's not
Rebecca,
a bad...
you say the words, I will go. If you build it, I will come. I will come to the ocean. I swear, all it takes is a couple comedy clubs to open up in Miami for me to turn to Matt and be like, let's get the fuck out.
Yeah, I'd like to...
Let's go where the wind takes us south.
Yeah, because we go there once a year. We've gone there to do.
I'm out of all the terrain. See, Matt is a desert beach person, and so am I. But there's something about the ocean that really, because we're all made up of mostly water, and I think there's something about humans and the ocean, and some really love the ocean more than others. I can't imagine anyone who doesn't like the beach. I had an ex who didn't really care for the beach. I thought that was weird. But I think that being by water is healing. And imagine doing comedy. You go to the beach during the day and you tell jokes at night.
Yeah, that'd be great. And hey, I'm a beach guy. All right. I lived by the beach my entire life. This is the furthest I've lived away from the beach.
Well, the thing about Miami is why it's kind of like Vegas in that there's so much other ways that people go there to get entertainment. It's not like here, people come here and there's the music scene and there's nothing really else other than barbecue and music to Austin, in my opinion, and downtown. And then Rogan created this whole huge comedy scene that existed a little bit before, but he kind of put like heroin into it. And now it's a comedy tourism scene. And I feel like, It's harder to do that in places like Vegas and Miami because there's so many options for tourists, and you have to be a comedy fan to choose comedy. Like people who just are like, oh, like in Vegas, they end up at comedy shows because they just need a place to be drunk. And it's like those are kind of
sober up.
Or exactly. And those are some of the worst audiences. Like Miami is people like to dance. They want to be on drugs. They want to be doing cocaine. They don't want to hear people talking.
Right.
They want to hear.
They want to do the talking.
No, they want to hear. They want to hear like Skrillex. You know, like that. Or
but
like,
we fucking kill it. I'm not going to take away from the shit we
that
do
if
there.
They opened up clubs in places like West Palm and Boca and Fort Lauderdale, you know, on the outskirts of Miami, like almost in like the local,
that's
you know,
what I'm
like
saying.
Coral Gables or
what's that part that where maybe it is where Gramps
well,
is
actually,
at.
I think that's where Miami Improv is in Coral Gables. I don't know.
Okay, Gramps is like a club that we play there. It's a nightclub, and they have
Gramps is
this little room where
in Wynwood.
In Wynwood, I like that vibe.
Yeah, it's an.
I feel like that. That's what I'm saying. That is of the arts. Like maybe more things in there. Just like how 6th Street downtown has like all sorts of different comedy clubs. If they created like a scene in that part of Miami, because I think like when I was there, I felt like these people are kind of like these are like my people here. Because I'm not of that like night culture. The where the music sounds like a robot swallowing. Like I don't see how that's at all fun. But then again, I don't do enough coke. So there's these, it takes one. I don't think there's one without the other, you know? But if they sprinkled in some comedy, I think anywhere. I think literally anywhere. I think if you go to Moscow and they put an improv there.
If they build a comedy
they
scene.
may not laugh loud, they just laugh.
Oh man, if a comedy scene moves down to South Florida, like if the Stand's doing it, then I feel like other places are gonna follow. I really do. Because
maybe.
Because comics are gonna want multiple places to the scene is there is comics there who want a scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And there needs to be places that foster a scene. And that comes from venues
it's like
comedy clubs.
It's like a place like anything. It only takes the bar being high for a scene to thrive. It's not just it's like if the comedians there are great and then maybe like a few like stars come in. But if there's greatness around and everybody, this is the bar, you want to be at least this good. And if there's thriving, you can't be the best.
It's more than just a weekender club, though. That's what these clubs are, like the Improv and stuff. That's where they get the big headliners
no
that
doubt.
come in for the weekend. Like there's really no, you know what I mean? Like they need to foster a scene within the scene. Like, of course, have the headliners come in, but, you know, they should have local comics open for them.
Yeah,
like,
there's like good comics from Florida.
Yeah.
And if
and they're moving here, at least the ones from like Tampa and Orlando. But even in Miami, like, yeah, they have an Improv, but like the scene, there's no like scene, you know? I mean, it's still forming itself. Like there's no cohesiveness really.
Yeah.
So all it takes is a few clubs that are willing to host some mics and hire door guys and like really care about building a scene. All it takes is one club. That's essentially what the Mothership did, was put life into a scene that was begging for, you know what I mean? Like,
well, there was already pieces in place.
Existed, but
it's
it brought everything together.
I don't think if it was just the Mothership, this would literally just be like a road town.
No, it's like the domino effect. Like, the Mothership came, then Sunset came, you know, and then the Creek was here, and like all together, like these clubs started like moving down here and fostering a scene. Like it was injecting life into it.
And then good comedians moved here. Right?
Like, you know, Wise Guys opening up in Vegas was really good because they do host open mics, and Wise Guys has multiple locations. And if you can get in with that club, you'll have more opportunities. But that's one of the only clubs that is really doing it. Like the Las Vegas or the LA Comedy Club, they have their local comics that they fuck with, which is, you know, like a handful of the good comics that are there, like the Jimmy McMurrins and the Jamals and like, you know, Jocelyn Sharp. Like they have a handful of comics, but that does not maketh a scene. You know what I mean? Like,
you just say maketh?
It doesn't maketh a scene. Like,
wow, why don't you talk like that more?
I know.
I've never heard you sound so medieval.
Thank you.
It's mostly just evil.
Yeah. to seen or not to seen. But I don't
Seen or not.
there.
You just
I
wanna
don't
be
know.
seen.
I just hope that more scenes emerge as time goes on, because I would love to live in other places and be able to, like, you know,
Dude, I
be
think
part
like
of different
stand-up
scenes.
comedy though, it's like any kind of like, you know, life form that's indigenous to that land. It's indigenous to Earth. And so like, I mean, even during the pandemic, that we were still fucking sneaking it in there and people were coming in herds. And this was before like, you know, any vaccine or anything. This is like people just need to come in here and laugh and go home. That's hilarious. That no matter what, you could take away everything. People are still going to want this. So why they would want it everywhere. Like you just got to think about the locals. It's all about the locals. It's like whoever's in that town, they matter. These people here, and they're young and they matter. And that's why, and this scene, since it's so brand new, like as far as at this level, it's like one of like, now there's actually 3 huge comedy scenes now. And that's because this place started building. It was already here. Then a club came in with a lot of money and got more formal, which attracted bigger comedians. And now all you needed was the bigger comedians here, you know? And then boom, now we're talking about Austin. It's the comedy capital. I mean, whatever you want to think. Like it's literally because of the comedians in the club, the community. You could do that anywhere. And Miami be a great place to do that. Because then we could also like
I saw that they have
go
this,
into the beach.
I was walking with my friend. She was walking her dogs. And they had these signs up on the beach for a cat colony that lives in the bushes on the beach. And like, I guess like the only people who are certified to feed them should be feeding them. Like they get fed, but they don't want random people just like feeding them. And I look in the bushes and there's like a gray cat, and there was a cat that like looked like it could be related to my cat.
Dude, I want to be homeless there.
And no, you don't. It's way too hot.
But I got cats everywhere.
I would be a cat if I was a cat. I would want to be like.
I'll get in the
beach
water.
cat.
By the way, if it's too hot, I go in the ocean, come back,
No.
cuddle with some kittens.
No, it's but I thought that was really cool that there's just this like colony of cats that live on the beach amongst the people of Miami. It's so cool.
Miami, man, sounds
So
enchanting.
cute.
But that's what you get for being at the little
But that's
last
why
sliver
I
closest
stayed-
to the equator.
I stayed an extra few days because I just needed the sun, the heat, the vibes. I
Mm.
love the vibes in Miami.
Yeah, but then you think living there, like if
I
you
did
live,
live in I lived
No,
in
but-
South Florida
but
for
like
5 years.
if you were, but you, the thing you said about the lack of inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that says a lot. I mean, that's okay if you want to live there and just like live off into the sunset and you don't have ambition. Miami's the place for you.
Schultz went there for a bit,
Did he?
and he said it was uninspiring because it was too easy and chill.
Well,
Yeah.
that's it. What like
And in
it's
Miami.
hard because like I was one of the only people out of my friends in college because I worked at the restaurants. When I was in college, I just worked in restaurants. I've worked in restaurants my whole life basically, and I was like, oh, none of my friends have jobs and they just are out partying every night and they're like getting addicted to drugs and like
They're like rich kids, huh?
just like yeah, I mean
Their
like
parents just-
ungodly rich though, like rich on a level of like kids of corporations or
Oh.
like it was we would have a lot of like diplomats from other countries that would send their kids to like South Florida to go to
Their
school.
kid's such a piece of shit. They're like, why don't you go be a piece of shit with all the other pieces of shit?
I
You
like
fit right in.
you know, like I grew up like middle to upper class and I had, you know, my first car
No,
wasn't.
you're upper. That's upper.
My
You think it's
first
middle
car-
because there's like billionaires kids you hang out with.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like they're on such a that's not middle class. It's not even middle to upper. It's
Gotcha.
completely upper.
Undisputable.
Like it's like money. When I'm driving around South Florida and you're looking at these mansions on the beach, you realize like how much money there is in the world and how you're not making like and what wealth really means. Like my parents, you know, we lived in a nice house. They bought me my first car. They paid for college. That's one thing. These people, the kids own yachts. Their
Mhm.
first cars are like Mercedes, Bugattis. There were kids driving Maybachs through. Like that's wealth that I'm like stupid money.
Yeah.
You know, like I still care about how much I look at how much things cost, you know, like my parents raised me to look at how much things cost. Like these people get offended if you are like implying how much something would cost. Like
Mhm.
crazy wealth.
But that's why they're uninspired. Because what is their
live like? I wanna
Well,
live growth
it's-
like that.
It'd be
it's-
boring.
It's
Yeah.
no, because you see how sad it is to not
They all
have
have
anything.
mental problems.
You see how sad it is to not have anything to strive for when you just have everything at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Like I
That's why we need more like
my parents never made it seem like I didn't have to work. Like these kids were never given any kind of like expectation that was something work ethic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my parents instilled in me work ethic and that no matter what, you're going to have to work for it. Like these kids, their parents just sent them to college because that's something you're supposed to do. That's what's expected of you after
Mhm.
high school, is to give them an experience of college, not to give them an education for them to like, because they were going to end up working for the family company
Yeah.
anyways.
Right.
But yeah, that was it's hard to it's hard to stay motivated when you're the only one who seems to be like, you know, my boss, I remember when I was in college, I worked for a hospitality company. It was called Pizza Fusion. And I used to work for his restaurant in downtown Boca Raton. And I was a hostess there. And then he hired me to come do marketing for his pizza company. And he's one of the dopest bosses I've ever had. Gave me my first start in marketing, starting my own marketing business in South Florida. But sometimes, you know, we would go out for liquid lunches and he would take me to one of his restaurants where we would go and have like a liquid lunch. You know, we would eat, try the new thing on the menu. We would have some drinks and not go back to work. And it's like, it sounds awesome, but it's like, okay, like after a while, you know, there was also no other, I was like the only marketing girl. There was no other, I couldn't like be promoted any more than I already was.
So when he takes you out and you guys just get drunk, like, does that kind of like, do you have to, like, what if you don't
No.
feel like drinking? Is that part of the job is what I'm saying?
No, it's not part of the job. It was just like
You're
he
still
owned,
clocked in.
Yeah, I was on salary.
Oh my God. And would there be like, is this spontaneous, like impulsive, like, hey, you know, I
No,
wanna
it
have a
wouldn't.
liquid
It would
lunch
just be
today.
like the office. He would take the office out for lunch, which would be me and like the receptionist, Claudia, who was like an older woman who was really funny. And we would go to one of his restaurants downtown because he owned multiple restaurants. This one in particular was the one that I used to hostess at. And it would all just be part of like, he's still, you know, it's part of the job would just be go there, try the new menu item. You know, we were talking about,
get hammered.
I mean, that's when you work in hospitality and when you're in Florida, that's the vibe.
See,
that's what I'm saying.
sometimes like sometimes partying is part of a serious job.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's what it
Like-
is in Florida. Partying is the job. That's part of the job. Like having a good time, drink,
like,
you know.
what's that?
Networking.
Well, networking, but like, it's like consultants.
Yeah.
My dad and both my brothers are consultants. My brother was telling me about so one of my dad's friends has mentored my brother, and he was like selling what consulting is to him, and he said consulting is sexy. Like, it's sexy. Client comes into town, you're like, hey, got reservations at the steakhouse, we're gonna go. There's literally it's accounted for in the company, you know, in the big cash pot. There's this much money that goes to get this guy fucking hammered, see if he finds some, you know, like whatever he's into.
Yeah.
So that way he'll stay, you know. It's super manipulative, but
Client relations.
Yeah.
client relations, but getting that job, being that guy, like that interview must be awesome.
I mean,
They're like,
it was cool because it's a job you have in college.
you have to
and
fill
I'm
it out.
working
Like, is this guy fun?
in
Like,
hospitality?
it's
but
like, how much? What's your favorite drink?
But when you're young and you're just getting started, it's hard to be motivated in South Florida when people move there to die, literally. So yeah, but I miss it. And while I was there,
The boss is interviewing the guy. It's like, have you ever lost your car? And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like, bro, go pretty good. All right. Like, this is going well.
while I was there in
Have you ever
Florida,
cheated on your whole family? Well, yeah, so okay. Hey, no more. I just need to know that you're right for the job. I'm not trying to learn your life story, bub.
and scene.
Just want to make sure we can hang.
I'm trying to end your scene.
All right.
Okay, so while I was there, Matt tried to watch an episode of Quiet on set, and I told him to wait for me, but I ended up watching it anyways.
She basically cheated on me. I felt betrayed.
This brings us to our triggers of the week.
I felt betrayed because I just told you I want to watch the show, and you said don't, and I wait for me, and that made me feel safe. Like you want to share this with me because I love you, Matt, and I'm.
We have Vanderpump Rules. We have The Valley.
You want to watch those? I only watch those because I love you. I hate those fucking shows. I mean, I get addicted and then I give a shit, but I fucking hate them. This show I really wanted to see. I was super excited. I was seeing all the stuff on Twitter and I was like, I'm going to watch this tonight, and I was all alone. I thought that'd be nice. One of these nights I'm going to come home early and watch this. And you said, no, wait for me. And I did. And you watched all of them with your friends.
Yeah, but I didn't there was time. It was so loud.
Like,
There's
whose idea was it?
So many people over. I don't know.
Was it your idea
I
to
don't
watch
think
it?
I think it was like everyone's
Did you think
idea.
of me?
Yes, I did think of you.
What did you think?
I was like, Matt's going to be really upset when he finds out that I watched this.
And then you're like, but then again, I
But
don't
to be
care
fair,
how
it
Matt
wasn't
feels.
like I didn't watch it the way that I wanted to watch it.
You're
There
like,
was
it's-
multiple people over. People were talking. Like I was getting up. I wasn't fully paying attention the way. That's why last night when we were watching it, I was hearing things that I didn't hear before. And that's the second episode.
Right.
And I was like, I don't remember hearing any of that stuff. And I remember when I was watching, I was like, oh, I'm going to really watch it with Matt. So,
Yeah, I just
and
felt
we started. So we've been getting through Quiet on Set.
Yeah.
And so I was an All That kid. I loved All That, and I even wanted to be on All That. And I even remember looking up how to try to audition as a kid. But I wanted to I really if I could go back as a kid, I would have just gone for it.
Yeah, I mean, All That was my SNL, and when I'm a little boy, and I'm like, I love comedy already.
No, you know what? I take it back. I would have just gone for it. I'm glad I did it.
Well, I asked my mom too, and I wanted
I'm
to go.
glad I didn't.
I
In
wanted to get
retrospect,
on All
because
That.
look at what happened. Look at what I mean. Listen,
I
I
would've
was talking about this with my friend Emmy. Who the fuck likes hanging out with kids other than weirdos?
Mhm.
I don't know anyone who's full on desire is oh, I just love hanging out with children. Have you met children? Have you sat on an airplane? No one just likes kids unless you're fucking weird. And I'm sorry, it just, none of this came as a surprise to me. It's all just more of a disappointment.
Mhm.
But because they have this other documentary called The Orange Years that Matt and I watched, and it was all about all the Nickelodeon, basically the entire history of Nickelodeon and how it started. And to be honest, there were a lot of women behind the scenes on Nickelodeon that were making our favorite shows or were a part of it. And I thought that was really cool. But this is a whole other side to it that makes it, because we were watching the first or second episode and they're talking about certain sketches and all that I remember in the characters, and they're so inappropriate. And I'm like, am I being too PC, or is this okay for children to be exposed to? And it's clearly not, because what makes me uncomfortable now as an adult is you can see how uncomfortable the kids are in some of these sketches. Like the kid who is getting peanut butter licked off his body by the dogs in the sketch. He's like, I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable. That is not funny.
That's child abuse. Yeah. I think it's also
it's humiliation. What they were doing is humiliation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as someone who's participated in, you know, being a part of Jackass, there's a difference when you do it to kids, because kids don't know any better and they trust the adults to have their best interests.
Mhm.
Whereas with Jackass, I know these people do not have my best interests, and I'm okay with that, and I'm consenting to that, and like I'm consenting to be humiliated. Or
it's kind of crazy
hurt,
that they're
or-
more gentle in Jackass than
it
they were.
seems as though,
in
because I was
Nickelodeon.
thinking about my time
that.
on set, and I'm like, you know, when my experience with Jackass, and just like, this was my intro to Hollywood. I had such a good experience. And I feel like these stories are so rare, especially nowadays. Like, I wasn't sexually harassed. Like, you know, I was treated with respect. There were a lot of women who worked behind the scenes on Jackass, which is really cool and surprising. I don't think a lot of people know that. And I think that I'm just one of those rare Hollywood stories that it's like, I had a really positive experience in a male dominated franchise, you know? And I think that is something that speaks to them, and
They really considered your dignity. Like dignity mattered to them, you know,
Well,
whereas
I
these
just
kids
think-
didn't have that. These kids were like, yeah, we're going to put peanut butter all over you. You're going to,
I don't know.
Like sugar and coffee thing, and that kid, they're like drowning these kids. And that, I mean, it is like it's not even entertaining. Did kids think it was funny?
I think we did. I think because I remember some of these sketches, and like I just remember loving the show. I loved, you know, I think it's crazy that it took this much time for people to think that's weird. But what's also crazy is the parent who did called it out, like the dilemma that the parents are dealing with. But my thing is, there's nothing worth like the parents are just like, not chuckle fuckers, but like, you know, they're willing to have their kids go through this because they know if they say something, because something is wrong, that the kids are good, but the kids are going to get fired, or like protect your kids.
I'm
And
so glad they had that black lady. The black mom she was like, oh, hell no. Oh, so the black kid's going to be the one selling crack? And like, she would have lived her whole life being like, she was the weird one then. She was wrong then. But now it's like, in this documentary, you're like, dude, if there were more of that, you know what I mean? If there was like one more mom like that.
how about the mom whose daughter was getting emails from the guy who worked
So
on
that one that
she was like watching her kid get emailed by this guy for a long time, and
so
she didn't want to.
let me just explain it real fast, because it's this guy who works on set. He's like one of their, you know, PAs, and he was a super fun guy that like would that was nice, was fun with the kids, young dude, like 28 years old, but he would also connect with the parents, and he'd go talk shop with them. And there's this one girl that built a friendship with him, and then they kind of became email buddies. Like, he'd email her. It's the classic old shit.
He would go over to a 9-year-old's house and play video games.
Well, that's when he got in trouble.
Why?
But with this kid, he sent her a dick pic via email, and it's like the mom went back and forth. Should I call the cops? Like, well, I don't want anything to get, and I don't want to make a bigger thing of this. And then the girl quit anyways, and she never went to the cops. And it's just like, so who are you really defending for? You're not like, she doesn't want any. What
you're doing then is you're not protecting the other children it's like, you're not thinking beyond what this, like, you're like, yeah.
I think that's the only one instance
right.
that's
Like,
happened.
No, that's why it all added up.
Yeah.
But you know, it must be, I can only imagine, because their kid, these child, you know, this is exactly, they're watching exactly what their kid wants, their dream.
Mm-hmm.
And for these adults to like prey on these children. I mean, no wonder, like, I really feel for Amanda Bynes. She was one of my favorite actresses, like of my whole life. She's probably one of my favorites. Because even they touch on this in the documentary, it was so rare to see a woman be funny, a kid that was like that. And I so could relate to that, because I was a funny girl and I was the weird one. And, you know, to see like what happened to her now, I can only imagine, you know, what really went on or didn't go on or however, because she's just like on she's just on another level.
Yeah, what's his name? Dan Schneider. I think he was obviously creepy and unprofessional.
But there's the other thing about Amanda Bynes too, because her parents were also something like, it wasn't just Nickelodeon that was, being toxic and abusive, and who knows what she went through with them, who may or, what happened may or may not with Dan Schneider, but her parents were also like preying on her. So she had no one.
Well, I don't know, because remember they were saying like she was dating an older guy when she was 16, and the parents wanted to shut that down, and that's why she wanted. What's it called? What's the term when
emancipation?
Emancipation.
Oh,
yeah, she wanted to be emancipated. That was because her parents were like,
it was more than that.
Date.
They were doing stuff financially. I think that was wrong.
Oh, maybe they didn't cover that in the documentary.
No, because that's separate.
Right.
They've had there's been issues with her parents and the money stuff, and I think it's always been. That's why she went to Dan to protect her.
Wait, when you email a dick pic, do you start it off like, hope this finds you well? How professional. You leave your phone number at the bottom. Dude, like,
signature.
To whom it may concern.
To whom this may concern. What's in the header?
Subject line.
Yeah, that's so funny. Splash. Oh, what?
Yeah, I don't know. It makes me sad because I really, really loved those shows, and now I just want to go back and watch every single episode.
Yeah, well, Nickelodeon was dope, no doubt. But
now the only thing they have is like SpongeBob.
Yeah, well, I think that was the end of that era. Like that documentary, like all the stuff that took place in that like mid 2000s, they're saying they were going through a renaissance,
I loved Are You
Dude,
Afraid
somebody
of the Dark?
had a great tweet about how this is why you don't need any adult actors. Or no, you don't need kid actors for Nickelodeon. Like make cartoons and have adults do the voices. Like leave the kids out of it. Like the kids will watch cartoons.
Mm.
Dude, there's some like Pete and Pete was fucking great. Dude.
Yeah, no, I think
Pete and Pete was like a masterpiece.
I think it's fine as long as they're being treated well on set. That's the bottom line. Kids should have opportunities if they want. If that's their, we shouldn't deter children from the arts and etc. But I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was my
hell yeah.
I'm just waiting for
You're talking about Snick.
that documentary to come out about. Oh, I love Snick. Do you remember Ren and Stimpy? Perverts.
Oh yeah.
That show was so naughty. I remember my parents wouldn't allow me to watch Ren and Stimpy, and I would have to sneak it.
Yeah. I was a Rocko's Modern Life kid.
Oh, I loved Rocko's Modern Life.
It's actually funny.
Rugrats
was great.
Yeah. Hey, dude. Hey, Arnold.
Wow, this brings me back.
Salute Your Shorts.
Yeah, Salute Your Shorts was another really. I remember Welcome Freshman. That was that's what year was Welcome Freshman?
I don't even know that one.
Oh, I do.
Cousin Skeeter.
I loved Welcome Freshman. 94. Yeah.
Around there.
Man, I wish it. Now obviously because of but that would have been a sick, time to work in Nickelodeon. It's crazy how much none of that
It would be
exists
funny
anymore.
if they made, it'd be a funny sketch if Cousin Skeeter had came out as he was touched, he was assaulted sexually, but it's a puppet.
Dude, no one will understand. Kids these days.
They just went, I woke up and there he was. He was,
Kids
these days will not understand the 90s Nickelodeon MTV era and how spoiled we were with original content.
Yeah,
but they were all being touched. So.
Well, yeah, but
and then TLC was rigged.
What's that?
TLC with
Total Request Live, Carson Daly.
Well, TRL. Sorry.
TRL. Oh yeah. Well, TLC was on TRL.
Yeah.
It was rigged. Yeah. TRL was great though. Carson Daly was so cool.
They could still do stuff like that, music videos on I guess the internet. They could do anything that they do anywhere on YouTube.
That's the thing is what I love now are these documentaries are coming out and if you're a good enough filmmaker, you don't even have to be honest. You can make some. I want the Carson Daly documentary. He was a tyrant.
Well, what's cool, I guess,
women.
with YouTube is you could just make your own shows now.
Yeah,
you could do a Nickelodeon.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's our shout out to Kyle Anderson. He's a comedian from Vegas that like is just a great documentarian, and he like makes cool shit. And he could just like, like, yeah, anybody could do it. He released a documentary on YouTube, and it like blew up. Yeah, that's like, I love this future of like we're finding out this future, like right now, like Netflix, Hulu, Max, like all these documentaries. Like you have those things about you loved about your childhood. Well, hate to ruin what was left for you, and they do. Like now you can't look at like, those shows the same. You see Dan Schneider's name, like, ooh, wait, who's the guy? Brian Peck. Brian Peck. That was the guy that molested Drake. Was it Brian Peck?
Drake Bell?
Drake Bell. He got assaulted. That was the craziest part of the documentary.
No, I don't think that was his name, was it? The guy who
Brian Peck?
No, because his
Josh Peck.
Josh Peck is his co-host.
Oh no,
it's
you're
Drake
right.
and Josh.
You're right. I want to get this. Like, pull him up. I'll show.
Brian Peck.
It is Brian Peck.
Oh, okay. No, you said. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this guy is just like a creep, and then he ends up getting another job.
Yeah.
And he only goes to jail for something like
16
months. I don't know. Like, not long enough. Dude, you see, like, they didn't even say the words. They just show the highlighted words in the documents. It's like, you see sodomy. You see, like, all these crazy. That was what he was doing to Drake. How's this guy even free now? I mean, dude, what's it like being him now, though? Now there's a documentary. That's what's great. Is even these people who are free, they have to live with this. They're in their own prison.
Yeah.
He can't even go to Starbucks.
I mean,
like, he can't go out to dinner, especially right now. He's probably on suicide watch. What do you do when you're Brian Peck and you walk free, but then there's this super popular, polarizing documentary that just shows how evil you are, and then you got to go to Ralph's. You got to go grocery shopping. And everybody's like, oh my God.
yeah.
He has a fake mustache. You guys see that creepy documentary? Wow. Yeah, there he is. Poor Drake.
That's what I'm saying. People who enjoy working with children,
Yeah.
I question you.
Dude, I worked for the city of Los Alamitos when I was like in high school. And I got this one side job within the city where I had to work. It was like a fairground for like kids, though. There's I'm dealing with a lot of kids, right? And there was a guy there who I worked under, and he must have been like looking back, probably his 30s. And he was so good with these kids, so charismatic. He'd be singing and he's dancing, he's doing the thing. And I'm like, wow, this guy is so like good at this, And then we were texting one day. And I said something like jokingly about how these kids are gonna love him or something like that. But it wasn't anything like gross. I'm not joking about that. Even in high school, it's like, that's not funny. It was something, but I was like genuine, like, oh, the kids are gonna love you. And then he calls me and he's like, hey man, you shouldn't joke like that when it comes to kids. Like, I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I mean that whole they're gonna love me. Like, I'm like, dude, I mean it like,
whoa, what is
I
he?
mean it like,
What is he
yeah,
overcompensating for?
Exactly. He's projecting. And I'm like, I don't know whatever happened with that, but it was like from that day, I was like, oh my God, that's one of those predators. I ended up getting fired from the job for stealing the company truck and going to Burger King, but that don't matter. Doing donuts in the parking lot, but it don't matter. But this guy was, as far as I know, he just kept his job working with these kids. Definitely a fucking creep. They walk among us.
They're still out there.
They're still out there. Yeah, but then in this documentary culture, I love it. They're all getting exposed. All of them are. All right, let's keep it moving along here. Recent spots, performances. It's been a minute since you got up on stage. You've been on vacation. You've been living the sweet life of Matt and Rachel. The sweet life. There's a Zach and Cody reference, which was referenced on the documentary.
Yeah, I was there.
All right. So, anyways, how long has it been since you've been on stage? Real talk.
Let's see.
I thought you were checking your texts in the middle of your podcast.
I'm doing
it's like, who's
both.
interrupting Rachel?
I'm doing both. Let's see.
Was it in LA?
No, it was. Did I get up on St. Patrick's Day?
Which
Oh, it was the 16th.
What show is it?
The show was maybe the Big Texas.
Yeah.
Sunset Strip Big Texas Showcase.
Which one was I remember that show. I don't remember
Which
the
one
specifics.
was the Armadillo Den?
Oh, that was for South by. That was
Oh yeah, I remember that
what's
one.
it called? Jam in the Van?
Yeah, but that was the one after the next day, Sunset Strip Big Texas.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was the 16th of, so it's been over 10 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've quit.
No.
Oh my God. No, you went on vacation and then you extended your vacation. You did not quit. Come on.
Am I even a comedian anymore?
Well, I know that feeling. Yeah, I mean, 10 days is like, that's wild. But you were also on vacation. Like you did something. You knew this was going to happen. And now you're back. And now you have a spot on Saturday. So you're back in the mix.
You can get up tonight if you really wanted to.
Is there a show? A mic?
There's a show tonight.
What is
Well-
it?
Ties.
Oh, I have to hang around the patio.
Oh, yeah. Well,
We'll see if I stay up that late.
I know.
I'm
if
on
it was,
East Coast time.
If it was right now, yes. But we're talking hours from now. There's a lot of people I don't want to see between now and then. I'm just kidding.
Matt got up last night.
I fucking did. I fucking
Just
did.
because for hanging around.
Well, and I'll tell you this. It's the show that is, well, tell them what the show is. We could tell them. Let's shout these guys out. They're good people. They're your
yeah.
people. They're the only other Jewish people we know in this town.
Not true. Yeah, shout out to Chosen Comedy. We love those
Chosen
guys.
Comedy. These are, it started off as a Jewish, it started off more Jewish, but they're like funny, cool people that are like, it's not just Jewish, but that's how it started, right? And that's great because it's like there's a community and they should support, and I'm all for that. Anyways, by the time we start hanging out, because you know they're at Sunset Strip, which is right across the street from us, and we're gonna go there and smoke because we can't smoke in our building. So we use that green room to smoke. It's very chill, big, open green room, and these guys are nice enough to let us be in there smoking in their green room. And through, a few weeks of hanging, they end up booking you. They don't book me, and that's fine. I'm not,
You're not chosen.
one of the chosen ones. At least I get Christmas, but either way, I still go every week. And then she gets up, and then last night I walked in and I saw those guys, and I'll be honest. I, for a second was like, why have these guys never booked me? Like I'm always hanging. They know I'm cool. Maybe they just don't know I'm funny. I don't know. Anyways, I've gotten really good at having these dumb amateur thoughts through the years where when you start, why don't they have me? Why don't they have me? It's like literally every time, just so you know, it's because they're not thinking of you. And that's not a bad thing. Are you thinking of them? It's like
Yes.
this in the mix, when it gets caught in the mix, when it comes down to making it, so many things go into making a lineup, and sometimes your name doesn't flutter, and that is fine. Anyways, somebody had dropped out, and I'm walking in, I'm thinking this, and then I go, whatever, they don't know. They don't know they should have me on this show. I'd fucking kill it. And I go back there and I hang out. You roll a blunt. I decide I'm going to leave and go eat. Literally, I walked out because the last thought I had before I left was like, I don't want to hang out. I don't want to hang out at this show that I'm not booked on. Like that happens too much. You know what I mean? I'm fine. I'm cool with it most times, but I was hangry and I wanted to eat. As I'm walking out, the guy who runs it, Eric, was like, hey man, did they talk to you? Would you like to do some time? It was such a godsend. And I know we don't believe in the same God, but he was so like, he didn't realize how in that moment I needed that. In that moment, I was getting on myself, mostly hunger related, and doing the best I can to like, nah, it's nothing personal. I'll just go do my thing while they do their thing. And he literally invited me to do a spot. I thought that was so kind and cool. And
you know what I felt like? I was a Jew on Christmas. Oh, wow.
oh my God. And by the way, when she was booked on that show, I was there to watch and support. And this is the one time they're like, you know what? Hey, her boyfriend seems to be cool. Maybe we should put him on, her boyfriend. It's like, to most people, I'm Rachel's boyfriend. But if you know, you know. It's like that meme of the guy from Incredibles. Anyways, they had me on. I did 5 minutes, and it was fun as fuck the whole time. I was really dialed in, and yeah, thank you for. And then I was like, oh, because I even went up. They only gave me 5 minutes. Whatever, that's a rarity. But you know what? I'm gonna use this 5 minutes good. I'm gonna do brand new stuff that maybe Rachel hasn't seen. Maybe some stuff. I'm doing a lot of brand new stuff, anyways. So like, I kind of write the set to impress Rachel, and I get off stage, and she's in the office smoking with the fucking managers. It's like, oh, never mind, babe.
Well, then you just got to practice.
Yeah, I did some new shit. It was fun. I felt, even though I'm not one of
better than the next one.
I'm not one of the chosen ones. It's okay to be.
You were last night.
I was chosen. Yeah, you're right. I was. And I appreciate it. That was fun. But less about me, more about you. You have a spot on Saturday. We're co-headlining, babe. Ain't that right? Is that what he said? Co-headlining means we both go last.
Let's see. When do we have spots? I work tomorrow. Oh wait, no, that's Friday. I also have Sunset Strip. I have 3 shows on Saturday. Get Ripped, Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
Speakeasy.
Wow. Well, am I even a comedian?
Busy Signal.
Am I even a comedian? I won't be
until Saturday.
Dude, 2 shows into that night, you're going to be like, fuck, I got one more. I just want to go home. I know her. She's that last one, she's like, oh, I'm just tired. I want to go home.
No, I don't mind it. It's the fucking bumping around town when you have to get in the car.
You mean
and then
being
come
a
back.
comedian? Yeah. You're right. It is.
We're going to cut this part out.
Well, you're am I even a comedian? Yes. Yes, for better or worse, always. Even when you take a vacation, you have your comedy mind. You're walking around thinking, what's funny about this beach that gets submerged underwater in every 5 days? What happens if you get fired? You're being funny out there.
I killed it in the ocean because there was this big yacht and there's this guy smoking a big cigar, and he looked like Tony Soprano. So I yelled out, I was like, you look like Tony Soprano. And you could see like sound travel because it took like 30 seconds for it to get to him, and you can see him laughing. Like they're all like,
the sound traveling.
The friend was like, she said you look like Tony Soprano.
Oh.
So yeah.
Thanks. That's exactly what I was going for.
Moment. Yeah, he loved it. It was a huch compliment. He really did.
There's a lot of people that go for that. It's a look. It's like if you're at all Italian, you're a Mamma mia.
Did you call me fat?
Hey, so you posted some beautiful pics while you're out there. Some of them a little bit questionable. Whoa, wowzers.
What? What would you say is questionable?
Well, the thong when you rub in your butt, but that's not questionable. You're on vacation, whatever. I swallowed that shit. Anyways, it was very hot and turned me on, and I got jealous. Anyways, but you posted beautiful.
That should be your trigger for the week.
Seeing my girlfriend. Okay, so it's like she's like. Her buddy is filming her. This gay guy, right? She doesn't know it, but he's filming her put sunscreen on. She's wearing a thong because she's in the bathing suit, and she starts rubbing her butt. And I'm finding myself going, "Oh yeah!" And then she like turns her butt face. She sees that she's being filmed. She turns her butt and finishes, and then she starts slapping it. Playful, but I'm watching this going like, oh hell yeah. But then it's like I wanted to watch it again because there's no sound the first time, and then I watch it again and he's narrating it, but he's being funny because he's narrating it like it's a nature documentary. Oh, the Rachel Wolfson in the wild, like, but he's like, oh yeah, like he's like into it. I'm like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. This is like 5 days without Rachel. My balls are as blue as the Democratic Party.
As the ocean.
As to the ocean. And I just am like, But it was beautiful. You have a beautiful butt.
Thank
And fuck me for not being there. Anyways, you also posted other great pictures at the beach and in the ocean in your bikini, showing how beautiful your fucking boobies are. I'm sure you've been getting DMs up the fucking booty hole. So
I got one new DM that I shared.
okay, but I'm sure you got a few up in the chamber.
Yeah,
like, there's
but this
no
one-
way when you post stuff like that, it's like fishing with a grenade. Like,
Everyone knows in the comments too that it's gonna add to my DM. bank.
yeah, naturally,
I shared those photos for that.
right,
Here, I should share them.
exactly. So these guys could fucking drool.
But that's
over
my
their
latest
keyboards.
one.
They're literally drooling on their iPhones. And, wait, that's the only one? Oh, wait. Are we showing this yet? Hold on. Let me.
It's not up there yet.
Okay, it's not up there yet. All right,
No,
go
we'll
ahead
show
and show them that, and I'll read it aloud.
Good.
What does your swimsuit and ketamine have in common? I want to sniff both.
Yeah. Did you write that?
I wish. That's brilliant. I thought that. I don't even do ketamine, but I would go through a K-hole to get to your butthole. I would if I had to do ketamine to get to sniff your bathing suit. I did not write this. But I see where this guy is coming from. I get behind that shit. Literally.
Well,
Yeah. I know it. I'm going to start a burner account where I write you shit. That's what I'm going to do. And see how many you organically choose. That's going to be fun. Did I get mine in this week?
now I'm always gonna think.
But then you're going to know the handle. So I had to constantly create new ones.
What would be your Finsta name?
Maybe fucking
Not Matt Edgar.
the ketamine
Two
crusader. Yeah. Matthew. I don't know. I'd have to think of that. Maybe I'll have them just choose one because I think you could just do a random thing that they
User
they
7453824.
Yeah, abuser 121.
Show me your butthole.
Yeah.
Matt, is that you?
Anyways, what do you think? We've been going on for how long has it been? Over an hour.
I guess this is our
It's been
third
over an hour.
episode.
This is the third episode. I thought that had
Do I have
gone
anything
very.
in my teeth? The
No,
whole
you
time?
did, and you saw me communicate that
The
to
whole
you through
time?
telepathy.
I'm a mess.
No, you did for a minute. You did for a minute, and not a minute, not a full minute, like seconds. And I saw that, and I gave you I spoke
We're
boyfriend
gonna
to
have
you.
to throw out this whole episode.
Wait, that happened. That happened a few weeks ago. We were walking on 6th during South by, so it was like really busy. There's a lot of people out, and we ran into two prominent people in our field that are older. They're not comedians, but they're adjacent, right?
Why does this happen
And
to
she-
me? Good things must be
She's
coming.
like talking. She's talking to them, and I'm looking at her, and she has something in her teeth, and it is blatant. It's a piece of weed, but no, it's blunt. It's a blunt. It's a
It was
piece
on
of a
my
blunt.
lip.
So this brown thing. Oh, it was on your lip. That's right. And I'm like, I don't know how to get it through to her in this moment while she's talking to these two people. I'm just like, there's nothing I can do.
Now I'm always
she
gonna be
walks
the
away, I was
girl
like,
with
"Babe."
the stuff on her lip.
Yeah, and it ruined the night. Like it literally, I shouldn't have even said anything. But you know.
guys.
No, that would have been worse.
What we need to do is form like a word that I could say, like that means you have something on your face and your teeth, and you just have to like check everything.
Okay, here's the word.
Yeah.
Chips.
Chips. Nobody's gonna detect that, and you're just gonna go.
I hope people.
And then you look at me, and if I say it again, it's still there.
Oh no, double chips.
Mm-hmm. Chips.
Hot Cheetos.
Okay, yeah, Ruffles. Get some Doritos. Anyways, I think we made a third episode.
Okay.
And I can't wait to see what the people think. So tell us what you think, for better or worse.
Just say nice things.
You know, if you got something nice to say it. If you got something mean to say, you fucking DM me, brother. I'll go toe to toe with you. I don't give a fuck. Actually, odds are I'm not even going to respond because that happens enough and I don't give a shit. Or you put it anywhere you want. Put your fucking negativity, because you have to do this to have any sense of self. You have to take down a pretty girl because that makes you feel like less of a piece of shit.
Or a pretty man.
Yeah, especially me. So whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do with your fucking self-hatred, you do. That's up to you. All right. But if you have something nice to say and you want to share the love, please send that our way. We love it. We love you too. And you know, the more we do these, the more it's going to put us out there again, and we'll be out on the road. Maybe we'll come to your town. Maybe we'll smoke 1 or 2 or 3. If I know Rachel, it'll probably be somewhere around 4. But yeah, thank you for listening to Rachel Interrupted. Babe, sign us off.
Thank you.
That was great.